Good morning and welcome back to Withrow Urban Homestead. It's 2 weeks before our last frost, so we need to plant our stock flowers into our GreenStalk planters. Now for winter, I unstacked the GreenStalk. It gives them more access to the winter sun because it's very limited, more access to rain and snow, and this way I'm able to set up some hoops and cover it with some fleece. I have also modified my GreenStalks to match my specific space and my specific needs. Now you see this is long, narrow space between two row houses, and we have really tall homes. So I designed the top, where it fills up for a reservoir. I took that off because I want it to be full of lush growth that we can see from the upstairs windows. Let me show you a picture. Now this is an old house, more than 100 years old, and you can see that we still have window ACs. See, one's right back there. And I use the water, the condensation, I run a tube from the AC into the GreenStalks. That's how I water them. Sometimes I put the tube directly in the GreenStalk, and sometimes I run it into a watering can. I don't want to waste the water that comes out, but also living in urban downtown, water is expensive. And I also water with rainwater. Let me show you a picture. Now I started with 2 6-tier GreenStalks and 2 3-tier GreenStalks because there's 2 ACs upstairs and there's 2 ACs on this bottom floor. But I changed that. I redesigned them where I have 4 GreenStalks with 4 tiers each. That matches my needs better. Also, I have arthritis, and the 4-tier is the perfect height for me to water. 5 and 6 tiers, it's harder on my arthritis. I modified them to match my needs. This is my 4th or my 5th year to grow in a GreenStalk. And I've tried a variety of things, and what's worked best for me and been the most successful is to use plants, not start from seeds. I've been the most successful using good-sized plants. Now this is stock flowers, and these are 9 weeks old, and they should have been planted last week, but we had horrible rains and wind, and I just couldn't do it. So they're a little stressed out. The temperature's been on a roller coaster, and it's time to get them planted. You can see the stress in the yellow leaves, so I want to trim those off. That's better. I've already trimmed all the other ones. Now you probably noticed the wire. Well, it's actually hardware cloth, like this piece. And that is to prevent the squirrels from digging in the GreenStalks. They like to hide their food. I love my squirrels, and it's really my own fault because I feed them. But even stacked up, they'll climb in there and dig. And they'll even knock out baby plants. So I've covered the whole area with the hardware cloth. Now I bought the GreenStalks because I want this narrow space to be pretty. This is my home and I'm touching the fence right there. And the neighbor's house is really close and they can see down in this area too. So I want it to be pretty. I looked at pictures of GreenStalk design and I decided I didn't like it when you plant the same plant on the tier. I like it better when you plant things on a diagonal. Because as they grow, because they're the same plants on a diagonal, it looks like they're cascading. That's my preference. Now each tier has 6 pockets, and I like to have year-round perennial greens growing. And they'll come back in the spring. Every other pocket is a perennial green. So right now we have 3 empty pockets. So 1 pocket on each tier has strawberries. And 1 pocket on each tier has herbs. So each 4 green stalks, they have a different herb in each. Now last year I tried some trailing rosemary that's going to cascade down to see if it worked, and it did. So I've ordered 3 more and I'm waiting for them to ship at the right time. It's not warm enough yet. And then these 4 tiers, one of them has sage, but it's too big to plant in each tier. So I've ordered a variety of herbs to see which one I like best. So for now, I've really heavily trimmed that sage to try to keep it under control because it would just take up the whole space. And the 3rd perennial green that I have is Creeping Jenny. Right now, it's just coming back from winter, but by summer, it's going to be trailing down really long and be so beautiful. Now, each tier has the stalk planted between the strawberry and the herbs. And when I stack them, I'm going to do it on a diagonal, so it looks like the stalk is trailing down and around. Now, snapdragons are going to go between the herbs and the creeping Jenny. And these are the snapdragons. And between each green, it alternates a flower. And they're annual flowers, so I plant them fresh every year. So we have stock, and in the next video, I'll plant the snapdragons. But I've already have pansies. Some of them overwintered. I planted them in the fall. 4 of them survived. Most of them were just too small. They looked really sick. I really waited too late in the fall to plant them. So most of these pansies I bought, but the last 4 I grew myself in the fall. Now, this area doesn't get full sun, so I will rotate these a quarter turn every day after they're stacked up. Stock does like full sun, which means 6 hours a day or more. Here, it's not going to get 6 hours of sun, so we're going to see how they do. This is my first time growing stock. Stock is a spring, cool weather flower. Over 65 degrees, it's not going to set new blooms. Right now the temperature's 80, but it's going to get back in the normal daytime temperatures of the 60s and nighttime temperature of the 40s. It's just been a crazy spring. Stock wants to be deadheaded, meaning when the flowers fade, cut them off, and it's going to help it continue to bloom. Now, this specific stalk, if I planted it out in the garden, would be 24 to 30 inches tall. And that's really too big for a GreenStalk. But with limited sun and limited space, we'll see how it does. What's important to me is, does it produce flower heads? And if it does, but it's too big, then next year I'll buy some dwarf variety seeds. Now, so far, stock has been easy to grow. It germinated really well. It didn't require pinching back. It's been so easy. So we'll see how it does after we've transplanted it. See if it stays an easy plant to grow. Now, if you buy a new GreenStalk, it's recommended that you fill each tier totally full with potting soil. It even tells you on there. They have it printed out in words. You want it really full because it is going to settle over time. See, right here. Needs to be filled all the way to the top. Now, you don't have to replace the potting soil every year, but you will have to feed it. And I tend to use Fox Farm fertilizer. I just follow the instructions. Now, a week after the last flowers get planted, then I'll stack it up. I want to give them a week to just really get the roots spread out and get maximum sun. Thank you for visiting Withrow Urban Homestead. See you later. Bye-bye.